We have with us Ms. Hema Jyoti Valluru. She's going to be talking about combating cybersecurity using AI. Now, a little bit about Hema. Hema Jyoti works as a senior cybersecurity consultant in Dubai with an Indian IT major. She has 5+ years of experience in cybersecurity. She has worked across pre-sales, research and advisory, GTM, go-to-market, and consulting. In her current role, Hema is into CISO advisory services across cybersecurity and risk consulting security, security architecture, and also manages next-gen cybersecurity platforms in the Middle East region. On security credentials, Hema holds CRISC, CISM, and CISA certifications. Hema also holds an MBA from one of the top 10 B schools of India and a bachelor's degree in computer science. With that, I'm going to hand the stage over to Hema. Hema, the stage is all yours.
Okay. Thank you, Aditya. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you, team, for this wonderful intro. Indeed, I'm honored to be part of this conclave. Today, I'm here to share my experience in understanding. Indeed, I'm in the process of understanding what wonders AI could do in strengthening or empowering cybersecurity. So that's where I chose this topic. And in my recent past, I had been working rigorously on the next generation cybersecurity platforms. And that's where I got an opportunity to learn a bit about AI and what it could do to cybersecurity. So before getting into what AI could do in cybersecurity, I'd like to start my conversation with the aspect of digitization. So the digitization had been the primary driver from last 2 decades. It has been driving exponential growth that we are seeing. So what digitization mean to us? I'd like to say that because of this digitization, which is going in a very fast pace, we as consumers, like each one of us, get what we want instantly, and it applies to, and it also implies that the service provider, for that point, any service provider, are able to deliver it. They have means to deliver it. But what are the primary drivers for this kind of digitization? So precisely, I'd like to put here the SMAC, the well-known digitization components or pillars, SMAC, social media, mobility, analytics, and cloud. So social media showed us what would be the new ways to reach, to interact, to target, or even to acquire the customers. Even we are doing even transacting with the customers. Mobility had helped us in creating more business models, more better service models, giving more interaction or more collaboration to the tools. And analytics, with its primarily with its processing power, it is able to give predictions based on the past behavior. And cloud allowed the organizations to quickly respond to whatever changes are happening in the markets, and majorly to solve many business problems. And also, touching upon the cloud aspect, it reduced burden on the capex, burden of capex on the organizations, and it led organizations to be experimental. So each one of these elements of digitization had helped in one way or the other in strengthening the one premise that data will decide. So how this data will decide premise is taken by the organizations, or how are they able to manage this is with the enablers of SMAC. So they provided each one of them in one way or the other. They have provided all the required data, and not only the data, the infrastructure as well, to speed up the innovation in the organizations. They supported availability. It's not only the perpetual availability, but at times the ubiquitous availability is also supported, primarily by leveraging the power of web, the power and scale of the web. Also with the cloud native architecture and with the agile development technologies. So altogether, they gave a mobile-centric experience. So this digitization has brought in a ubiquitous user experience. So organizations definitely became more collaborative. They became more productive. They are better connected now using these technologies, using the technologies that are enabled by the SMAC. But with this kind of data-driven approach, what is happening to cybersecurity? So I deliberately took the statistics from 2019 just to ignore the trend from the current pandemic situations. So, if we take only 2019, daily average of cyber attacks on the organizations across the globe, the count is around 80,000. And the what is the average cost of data breach? So because of the result of any cyber attack, uh, what is the cost of the data breach? It has been close to $3.8 million across the global average. Indeed, in few regions, for example, to pick the region where I'm currently in, uh, Middle East has this average close to $5.9 million. So average cost of data breach in Middle East, it is $5.9 million. So what are these kind of what are the kinds of cyber attacks that we are seeing? So every day we hear hundreds of instances of happening identity theft or data breaches or brand reputation going at stake. Somewhere or the other, we do see this news. And it also appears as if these cyber attacks are now pervasive, they are everywhere. And one important point to highlight here, the cyber criminals are making it is very visible and obvious that cyber criminals are making systematic and calculated exploitation of the technology. Of a lot of these technologies, they are able to make a very calculated exploitation in order to disrupt the organizations and their operations. So also because of this digitization drive, we should also say that organizations do have more number of vulnerable points than before. Uh, so few of the cyber threats that I would like to touch upon here, or what you are seeing on the screen, is the spam or phishing attacks. So this is one of the very common phishing attack and most successful one. So it is nothing but creating some fake email IDs or fake domains, creating them against any of your organization's name, or and that could be misinterpreted by your customers or even by your internal employees as if it's a real one. So as per the World Economic Forum report, maybe in 2018 or 19, so 4 new malware samples are being generated every second. So every second there are some 4 new malware samples are being created. And what is the attack vector that is being used for these malware samples is phishing. And phishing is the most successful attack vector because most of the times phishing sites will stay online only for maximum 4 to 5 hours. So that's where the statistics says that phishing is the most successful attack vector. And the other one is about brand impersonation, like leveraging fake products or creating fake domains or running some fake campaigns, impersonating the brand, or stealing some VIP information and putting that for sale on dark web, creating some fake accounts using these stolen accounts or misusing it in one way or the other, or the the one thing that we need to highlight is the identity theft, where this could be a weapon in the hands of the attackers if the identity theft happens. And this could how could this be a powerful weapon in the hands of attackers is identity theft can leave your networks to be penetrated. So someone could penetrate through your network or demand some ransomware, do some data encryption, or even do the data leakage, put that data for sale on dark web. So such kind of cyber attacks are very common, and these are what we are seeing every now and then. And these cyber criminals are actually developing and launching such kind of I would rather call these as very sophisticated multidimensional attacks. So what these cyber attackers are doing, it is a well-known fact that they are putting money into automation, uh, building more in order to launch more attacks, and thus, in contrary, so where attackers are putting money into automation and building or generating more number of attacks, the organizations, in contrary, they are still exploring what are the manual efforts and how could my internal security controls combat these external threats and attacks. That's the sad reality that we are seeing, because because of this data flooded, I would rather call this as a data flooded threat landscape. It has created new challenges that all the traditional or most of the traditional cybersecurity measures or cybersecurity controls are becoming obsolete. So many leading organizations have already recognized uh, that we, in order to prevent these breaches, it is actually impossible to prevent these kind of breaches anymore. Instead, we need to switch the focus from thinking of preventing the breaches to continuously monitoring the systems, so to continuously detect for threats, and more importantly responding to them in near real time, in near real time. Yeah. So several such scenarios highlight that there is a dire need to have some effective or some robust cybersecurity systems to be in place. So in a here, I would from here I'd like to say how artificial intelligence could help or could empower cybersecurity uh, in handling most of those challenges. So, as I said, AI is one such savior. It helps and increases majorly. What AI could do is it could help in increasing the productivity of the resources. So, those cybersecurity resources who are spending more time on analyzing the alerts or doing some repetitive tasks, AI comes into the picture by increasing the productivity of those resources by leveraging some automated techniques and helping in detecting the cyber threats well in advance. So, in summary, I would say AI can help both. It can help in developing both prevention, detection, and also the recovery strategies as well. So, here I'd like to highlight what how leveraging artificial intelligence could help cybersecurity prepare for this kind of advanced and persistent threats. So these are the four areas I'd like to highlight where artificial intelligence can be leveraged. These are not limited, but these are the few ones I'd like to pick up. So for nearly most any of the business whichever uses the artificial intelligence, the main benefit that they would see is ability to handle large volumes of data, ability to handle or process this enormous amount of data that is coming from several logs. So if I pick up specific to cybersecurity, there are many tools in the likes of antivirus or IDS or IPS, even the IAM tools, the firewalls. All these log sources, they usually collect huge amounts of data in terms of alerts or categorizing them in terms of events or incidents, which are subsequently reported on the SIM tools like security incident and even management tools. So if all these volumes they have to be handled by the analyst alone, they would literally get drowned. The analyst would literally get drowned with this kind of data. So if I use artificial intelligence here, it can analyze this large volumes of data. Indeed, in a small fraction of time, in a very limited time, it is able to analyze all this kind of data, and it provides the human analyst with very small amount of enriched data, which contains only the suspicious or potentially malicious alerts. And learning over time, this is one advantage that artificial intelligence would give us. So AI can identify what are the malicious attacks that are happening out there, primarily based on and also specific to your organization, primarily based on the behavior behavior of the applications or behavior of the network. By identifying the small changes, the small anonymities, or spotting any deviations from it, artificial intelligence can learn over time and help the cybersecurity systems to perform better. And one thing which the human analysts even put in hundreds of numbers couldn't do it at that scale is identifying the unknown, like some zero-day attacks or any unknown threats. So every day we see hundreds of malicious attacks are launched every day, but these kind of zero-day attacks or these kind of unknown threats, or even though the attacks are known, that might not be known to the organization. So such kind of detection of new or unknown threats can be easily done using the artificial intelligence tools. So one last advantage I would like to highlight here is fast detection. So leveraging artificial intelligence can definitely result in continuous monitoring of the networks or continuous monitoring of the applications because of its analytical capabilities or monitoring capabilities. So we can also program it in such a way that any new scenarios in the network activity can be easily interpreted automatically by such kind of AI tools. So after showcasing what would be the advantages or few advantages that artificial intelligence could give to cybersecurity, I'd like to show what is the cyber kill chain. So before getting into the applications or specific use cases of artificial intelligence in cybersecurity, so I'd like to spend some time on this cyber kill chain. So this is nothing but the Martin Lockheed kill chain, which has inspired the MITRE ATT&CK framework and many others. So I'll just spend maybe a couple of minutes on this slide to say what should be the areas where, as defenders, we need to invest our time in while watching at the cyber kill chain. So cyber kill chain is, as we all know, these are various steps an attacker could take or could use to attack any target. So by understanding each of these stages, we as defenders can better identify and also prevent the attackers, prevent the attacks from happening to the organization through any intrusions, which could be at any of these stages. So the first stage of reconnaissance is about where attackers would actually initiate where they would take some initial action of identifying some threats. Like it could be collecting some login credentials or mapping these whatever they found on dark web or deep web and mapping them with the social media information, or doing some social engineering, or even collecting some publicly available information on press release and so on. After doing this step, also the identifying what would be the internet facing servers or internet facing applications of an organization could also fall under this step. Here, as a defenders, we need to build some detection mechanisms for the browser behavior. So this is one area where artificial intelligence can definitely be leveraged. I'll explain in next slides on what use cases or applications I have picked up for AI in cybersecurity. So weaponization is on preparing for the operation, like in the where the attacker is preparing for the operation or preparing for an attack. Here, as the defenders, we need to perform full malware analysis for the APT campaigns against the organization. So what is the next stage? Could be the delivery stage. So this is on launching the operation. So this could be done through social engineering or phishing, or it can be directed through any of the web servers. What as a defenders, what we could do here is we can just do the continuous monitoring of what is happening to our organization as defenders. On the exploitation stage, So this is the place where the attacker is planning to execute the code or planning to implant any or leverage any of the vulnerabilities. So 1 second, let me put my phone on mute. Sorry for that. So exploitation is that stage where what we can do what we can do as defenders in this stage of exploitation is either by preparing our users with proper user awareness, leveraging BAPT, or using some hardening tools, server hardening techniques. These are the techniques which, as defenders, we could use here. And installation is the stage where the attacker is able to install some malware and is planning to maintain some access to the machines over extended time. So here, as a defenders, we could rely on endpoint detection systems, EDR logs. Those are the ones which could help us in identifying that something is happening in our network, on our systems. So C2C is the last best channel for the defender to indeed identify or to control the attacker by blocking the channel. So any threat intelligence tools or incident response are the ones which could actually assist the defenders of the organization in controlling the attacker at this stage. So learning to recognize or by defining the so learning to recognize and our ability to define that some intrusion campaigns are happening and our ability to identify what patterns are there in the skill chain can help us in securing from the cyber attacks. So this is where artificial intelligence could be of huge assistance to us, the cyber warriors, because of the speed and because of the accuracy in the predictions that they would provide us, and how easily they would help us in do the continuous monitoring. Also, how they could help us in doing the threat detection or in incident response activities. So there are a lot of use cases on what they could do. So let's dig into how this artificial intelligence could actually help the organizations with augmentation indeed. So artificial intelligence could not do it all by itself. Many of the tasks, they would assist the human analysts, they would assist the security analysts in doing such kind of implementations. So one such area is triaging. So one of the major challenge with any of the rule-based detection systems is false positives. We see the challenge of false positives, and we have to live with it. We have to deal with it. But in case of security event monitoring, if it is a false negative, we have to take a heavy penalty for it, because if an attack happens and if we fail to detect it, we means that the product we have leveraged for security event monitoring had failed to detect it, then the consequences are very high. So every product or every such product, a monitoring product, would tend to make false positives, would try to make this false negatives to zero. So they want to give us alert for every potential attack. So these false alerts could overwhelm the human analysts. So how we can leverage artificial intelligence for triaging is it can create some rules to filter out a few alerts for detailed analysis. So artificial intelligence, by leveraging machine learning, it can identify what could be the historic patterns, how we can cluster different kind of alerts, and what kind of association rules can be used to quickly filter out what are the relevant ones to the organization, or what are the repeated ones. It can keep them aside and present to the analyst, to the human analyst, only the enriched alerts, which needs further investigation. So that's where it is helping the human analyst to focus on the actual work. So another such use case could be threat hunting. So here we as defenders, uh, we know that the threat hunting, the threats are asymmetric. So the source of the threats are completely unknown in such case. So especially in case of this kind of asymmetric threats, um, defenders must be successful every time. So if the attacker, they want to be successful, they can be successful only once, and they could exploit our systems by just leveraging one weakness. But we as defenders, we must be successful every time, not to allow any weakness to be leveraged by the attackers. So AI can be extremely useful here. It can look into the patterns, it can look into the anomalies or any outliers in this data, and it can present the output to the human analysts in doing the proper investigation, especially for this kind of APTs. Other use case could be the incident analysis. So this is if it is a human beings, so it is they have the natural advantage. We as human beings definitely have the natural advantage of investigating any incident or deciphering what could be the attack chain. We could do this. Um, but when we are using machines to do this kind of job, there will be vast amount of data. Uh, there will be vast amount of data to be mined, but indeed, the usage of artificial intelligence in cybersecurity or in especially to the incident analysis, I'd like to call it as a classic case of or a classic fight between the exploitation and the exploration challenge. So machines can do a lot of data mining, they can do a lot of data exploitation, but humans should be there to do some amount of exploration. So we are the ones to give the right questions for the we need to give right questions for and the right reasoning for these kind of tools to analyze the data and to analyze the data that is coming from various assets, like what happened to the asset, what is the impact of the attack on the asset, who are these attackers, what are the attributes or what are the threat actors in my organization that had helped or paved the way for the attack vector. So, what are the past consequences of this attack chain? So, before this, what had happened? What are various stages? What are the other assets that could be part of this attack? Or what is the actual area where the attack is originated? So, to form this kind of storyline, human analysts would definitely need AI models to make it faster. So, I have other three use cases. So, Aditya, may I know, am I running out of time?
Hema, you have another 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you. So I'd like to quickly touch upon the other use cases which are very important on or which could play a major role in enhancing those capabilities or threat intelligence. So threat intelligence is about anticipating if an attack could hit you next. It is completely based on what is happening elsewhere in the world. So three areas that threat intelligence could act, three areas where artificial intelligence could actually help threat intelligence is number one, it could help in automating the collection of several threat intelligence data that is coming from across the globe. And the second one is increasing the accuracy, especially when we are applying this kind of threat data specific to the organization's context. So contextualizing this information, the threat intelligence to the organization is the second parameter. And the third one where threat intelligence could actually help is it can actually go through hundreds of blogs, thousands of social media pages or any dark web sources. So AI has got many tools, like one area is natural language processing, where it can identify where it can read through all this kind of unstructured data and give only the relevant data for the threat analysts to actually go through. So threat analysts don't need to revise or go through or see all kinds of threat intel data that is coming along. AI can do the job by giving the relevant information contextualized to the organization. So on incident response, automation can be leveraged all in containing the spread of the attack, or in recovering the affected systems, or by mitigating the attacks. or by using the lessons learned, how to improve the security posture for the future. So all this can be done by creating some playbooks for each of these stages. So majorly security automation and orchestration platforms would use these kind of playbooks, or can help in building these kind of playbooks. And last but not the least is the cybersecurity autonomics. So where this helps in the security operations, like by collecting data from various sensors, be it assets or be it um, any of the vulnerabilities or the attack related data, and contextualizing it to the organization, primarily coming up with some kind of risk models or the platforms. For example, one example we could see here is arriving at the quantified dollar value of the risk for the organization. So what is the cybersecurity risk score? What is the overall risk score for the organization? Uh, Such kind of predictions based on the available data, based on humongous data that is available from various sources, be it from monitoring, be it from threat intel, be it from alerts, or be it from vulnerability assessments. All this kind of data can be leveraged to come up with these kind of risk models using AI autonomics. So these are the few applications of artificial intelligence in the area of cybersecurity that I felt relevant for today's conversation. Um, there are more we just need to explore, and I'd like to take a pause here and thank the team for giving me this opportunity, and thank you everyone for listening to me.
Hi,
Yes,
Hema.
Aditya, over to you.
Thank you so much for that talk. We have more than a couple of questions from our audience. So I'm going to get straight into the questions. First question is, with all of its benefits, AI and all of that, how can we ensure that more digitization does not lead to more cybersecurity risks? Because the more technology you add, it's more points of attack for a hacker or a criminal.
Correct. It's a very valid question. So when we see digitization, when we are seeing, when we are exposing much of our data out there, and when there is a huge number of cyber attacks that are happening out there, it's all lies in the right decision we make by leveraging right models. Uh, and it's not even recommended to use automation everywhere. It's maintaining the right balance between the human analysts, reducing the burden on them, and leveraging automation or leveraging artificial intelligence models in the right place. So this right match would help in making or creating a better cybersecurity posture for the organization.
Okay. The next question is: can AI be customized to tackle cyber threats that are very specific to an organization?
Yes, definitely this is possible. There are a lot of tools out there. For example, there are tools like Insights. I just think about that tool at this moment. So this is one tool where it can contextualize the threat intelligence coming from across the globe from various private feeds or public feeds, and also the paid threat intelligence tools, and combining all of them together, contextualizing them to the organization's assets, like assets, be it IP addresses of the organization, BIP email IDs or domains. Hundreds, or I believe more than 150 plus domains can be, 150 plus assets can be mapped with the threat intelligence to give the contextualized threat intelligence for the organization. So such kind of tools are available.
Okay, great. Last question before I let you go is: what are the defense mechanisms companies can build in the reconnaissance and weaponization stages of the cyber kill chain itself? So that basically, even before threats enter the delivery stage.
Okay, so what are the question is what would be the defense mechanisms that the organizations can have in the initial stages of the cyber kill chain? Okay, so majorly it is about detecting the browsing behavior. So leveraging the threat intelligence. Threat intelligence would give a predictive information to the organization on what is happening out there in the world, and being in the similar industry or being in the similar region, or having a similar cybersecurity posture with those organizations, would they impact us? So I would say maybe having better threat intelligence, or more importantly, preparing the organization's resources with proper security awareness. These could be the steps that I would think of at this moment.
Okay, we have one last interesting question. So I thought I'll ask you before we wind up is hackers are becoming smarter by using new words and exploits and ways that are not caught by AI tools. So is AI making hackers smarter?
So, yes, actually, even hackers are leveraging artificial intelligence. They are spending so much in launching these kind of attacks. There are many forums on dark web which are talking about building some automated tools, automated payloads on how to trigger a cyber attack. So out there, as organizations, or we are, or even on at personal level, we are putting out, or we are giving away a lot of data in the name of digitization, in the name of uh, increasing the user experience. We are giving away a lot of data. So definitely, hackers do leverage artificial intelligence and build some automation tools. But that's where organizations should be more smarter and invest more on continuous monitoring rather than only being preventive. Rather than majorly thinking that we need to prevent the attack, they need to focus more on continuous monitoring, or in probably in near real time to respond to those kind of attacks, or stop the attackers at various stages of the cyber kill chain wherever possible.
Okay. So thank you for that detailed answer as well, Hema. Thank you. It was a very insightful session about some of the future benefits of AI and how it can help actually leverage and improve security across most organizations. So thank you so much, Hema, for joining us for the second reInvent. We'll look forward to your participation in future reInvent events as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.